just dawned on me that you ain't coming back. I've lost my chance to see us find our way back. And in the end, amidst these trying times, I'll always try to find you. I'll allow you to find the truth that you hold back. So stay with me. You know that I'll follow. I can't breathe. Together we'll fall apart. Just stay here right in my arms, and we'll start again. So stay with me. Together we'll fall apart. Together we'll fall apart. Together we'll fall apart. We'll fall apart, I know that we're a mess. Then I know that you're trying your best. And you're calling me to over dramatically talk to me. And it's so funny, you're all I wanted. And I can't talk, want you out of my life, so say none. I'll wait for days if you ain't one. I'll say none. So stay with me. You know that I'll follow. I can't breathe. Together we'll fall apart. Just stay here right in my arms, and we'll start again. So stay with me. Together we'll fall apart. Together we'll fall apart. Together we'll fall apart. Stay here right in my arms, and we'll start again. So stay with me. Together we'll fall apart.
Four French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The three wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and
But
Pouget.
before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1,200 horsepower brake.
Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, he's been mugged and a drift is going off.
All the way from back there. They're on board with Ben Gregory now, I love this. 10.5 minutes gone, Senna Lampson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to rounds 7, 8 and 9 of the World Sim Racing World GR86 series. We're here at my local, Oulton Park, the beautiful location in Cheshire. The very narrow and winding circuit is our stage for tonight's 3 races. My name is Chaz Draycott, here on Chaz Draycott Media, of course, and I am looking forward to another absolute belter and hope you all are as well. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope all the drivers are having a fantastic time so far, organisers and the lovely people in the chat alike. Let's get straight into things because qualifying is underway at the moment and is not far from completion. This is the championship standings at the moment. Michael Evdoka leads the way on 389 points, not too far ahead of Christoph Karekis, the privateer, and then Jesper Eriksson is third just behind. Alex Davidson in fourth place, only 5 points behind Jesper Eriksson, and then tied on 357 points is Esteban Rodriguez and Matthew Crisp. Maciej Sakovic, 9th outright, is the highest placed AM driver so far on 307 points. He's doing an amazing job, but is just ahead of James Neve, fellow AM driver, in 10th place overall. So there's a bunch of drivers right in the mix, and it should be very, very close throughout the entire championship in terms of those AM drivers. Let's have a look at some drivers though, shall we? Alex Davidson for Pure Sims Esports, currently the fastest as they go through Cascades. Very difficult corner. It's nice to see that iRacing hasn't decided to implement rain just yet. I was at Oulton Park today watching the British GT Championship tyre testing, and boy, the conditions were not ideal at all. It was very wet, very windy, and very, very cold. And let me tell you, after finishing work at about 4 o'clock this morning and then going to Oulton Park about 4 hours later, I'm rather tired, especially as, considering after this, I'm going to do an 11 p.m. till 7 a.m. shift. So I'm going to be up for another 12 hours, yep. So I'm going to try and force myself through this one, and I'm certainly going to enjoy myself tonight. I love this championship. I've really fallen head over heels with it up to now, and a lot of the drivers have as well. You know, they've not had ideal results throughout the first 6 races of the season, but still everybody has really fallen in love with this one. Jonathan Walker in the chat giving it the dab. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hello everybody that is watching, whether that be across YouTube, Twitch or Facebook. Chaz Draycott Media across all 3. Look at the amount of cars here that are chilling on the exit of Clay Hill. Matthew Crisp here following. Who is that in front of him? Is that... It's not Jesper Eriksson. Oh, goodness me. Come on, guys. I mean, there's no need to be going that slow in the first place, but they're jumping into the racing line, and it's all getting a little bit messy there. The number 87 car... Oh, sorry, it's number 81. It's Michael Hafliderson that is in there. The Swede just in front of Matthew Crisp. Just behind him, I believe, is it either Matthias Tem or Alex Jenkins. It's Alex Jenkins, and we'll go on board with the Canadian. I've got his nationality right this week. I did apologise to the drivers last time out because just as I went live, as you all saw, there was a huge issue with all of the driver names and all the driver info. So all the nationalities got knocked out as well. So there were certain drivers that were seemingly assigned random nationalities. But now it is all correct. Alex Jenkins then into Cascades. There's a bit of a crest on the way into Cascades that you've got to really try and settle the car down over the curbs, especially on the exit. The inside curb can drag the front left in very easily, and then on that outside curb you can lose all traction if you just dip the right rear onto there. Look at the Shell Oils hairpin here looming over the horizon, and then you curve around it. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Island Bend is the long left-hander that they have to go through leading up to that, and it is hellish in cars like this that if you do get it slightly wrong, you're just going to be straight off. Up over Hilltop now, that's usually where I've always stood. Even as a child coming to Oulton Park, that's where we'd always camp out on the left-hand side. Amazing to see the cars coming at full chat over there. You get to see them going through Cascades as well. Through the chicane and into Knickerbrook. A very difficult corner. It's slightly off camber here as well. Jenkins is around. And, well, it's safe to say my brother and I saw a couple of GT3 cars doing that today in the rain as well. All too easy to do that. Here's Christoph Karekis. Apparently he was down as Italian for one of the races, but he is Hungarian. Right colours on the flag, as he said, just rotated the wrong way. He currently finds himself in 7th place. The fastest AM driver is once again Maciej Sakovic, as to the top Davidson improves on his lap time. Morgan Butler goes 3rd fastest. He's a privateer for this series. Of course, does race for Pure Sims Esports. But as there's 5 of their drivers in this championship, he's sort of running his own private livery for this one. Here's Pete Newman. As Morgan slams on the brakes on the exit of Cascades to get in the train with Alex Davidson and Michael Avdoka, who currently have a Pure Sims Esports 1-2 on the front row. Here's Maciej Sakovic for Team Mad, certainly pushing hard is the Polish driver. And just as I mentioned that, actually, in terms of the AM Championship, or the AM drivers, if I bring up the drivers' flags on the left-hand side of your screen there, you can see that in the AMs, Maciej Sakovic is the only non-British driver, effectively. He does live over here in the UK, though, so it would be unfair, really, to sort of state that in some ways. But still, Maciej is an absolute star. I've watched him race for so long here on iRacing. He took part in the first leagues that I ever organised, and the first leagues that I was ever involved with the broadcasts on as well. And he continues to be a real star. Here's Matthew Crisp in the Alcantech NHR machine, the Hurricane, in this gorgeous livery. Currently 5th in this session. Just under 5 minutes to go. Actually 4.5 minutes to go if you want to get picky. And he is currently just behind this man, who is behind him on track, Michael Hafliderson. I've said his name right probably once over the course of the championship and will never say it right again. I want to say Hafliderson. As oh goodness me, that was Bunny. Matt Bunn into the wall very hard there, and he's going to reset that back to the pits. Really easy to do that round Druids. Double apex right-hander. It dips down and you can get a massive amount of grip through the first apex, but then as you get to the second one, the exit is over a crest and you can't always see the exit curve very easily. So it's way too easy to lose the back end. As we look back from the back end here of Roger Morton's Result clothing car, one way then the other, Jakub Szymanski says he's suffering from a severe case of German internet, so cannot drive tonight, I'm afraid, which is a real shame. Sorry to hear that, Jakub. Hope you're all good, my friend. Look at the run down towards Druids. It's beautiful. Again, over a little crest to the left-hand side. That you've then got to manage the weight balance of the car and then get it turned in as hard as you can to the right. Liam Silkstone's about to complete a lap, and I believe he's going to go flying up the board here because it's not like Liam to be 4.7 seconds off. There you go, 2.2 seconds off now in 21st place with a 147.715. Hangs the back end out around the first corner, known as Old Hall. Just going down the avenue now towards Cascades. This is Mikael Lees, his teammate, in car number 5. The Next Gen Racing machine, currently 3rd fastest in the AM class, as I think Silky's gone off the road and yes, has gone into the barrier. There's the other Next Gen car actually, which is in the Pro class. That's Adam Delmont. Again, Adam, another driver that I've been commentating for a long time. I made my iRacing commentary debut on Adam actually back in the BSR MX5. I believe it was the Autumn Cup at the time. It wasn't the Winter Series for that one, and it was at Watkins Glen on Apex Racing TV. And I joined the wonderful Alex Simpson and Andrew Woodhouse, 2 commentators that really got me into sim racing commentary and piqued my interest for iRacing so many years ago. Carl Hardy has just gone fastest in the Safeguard by Result machine. Very well done to Carl. Goes a couple of tenths faster than Maciej Sakovic now. Fantastic stuff. Kevin Zemstra in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing all right. It's been a while, Kevin. Is JB Mazida looking back at his teammate Maciej Sakovic. He's trying to help him with a bit of slipstream here. Slipstream effect isn't massive in these cars, but it's still enough to make a difference. JB 10th outright at the moment in this session. Oh, Maciej has a hell of a moment. And that's on the exit of Druids. Is he going to carry on with the lap? He might still be up on his time, so he may still push on here and go for a fast lap. Around the final corner he goes. Oh, he's got to be careful with that not being an incident point there for off track. Across the line goes Maciej Sakovic. Is it an improvement? Is it enough to go higher up the board? It is not. A 146.768. His fastest time is a 146.62. That's certainly going to be an off-track Maciej. Marcus Adams just improves on his lap time for Weenus Semantics. Goes up to 6th place in class, 17th overall. This livery, for some reason, I'm not sure if anyone of you will remember this, but just the sort of bright green, day glow sort of yellow colour with just a couple of black sponsors on it. Reminds me of the old Alan Morrison Peugeot, I think it was a 306, back when it was the first year of Class B in the British Touring Car Championship in the year 2000, when they supported the Super Tourers. Alan Morrison and James Kay had an epic battle for the Class B Championship that year. And the little Peugeot was just this day-glow yellow thing. Similar to this, really, with Matty Wilde's car. Very bright indeed. I'm very good, thank you, Kevin Zemstra. Very, very good, thank you. Just as explained before, very tired, and I still have a long shift ahead of me going through the night once this broadcast is complete. But it's honest work, and I'll get through it. Here's Colin Sansom. Bit of damage on the front of his car, unfortunately, for year one, as he pushes a little bit too hard out the chicane, and it's going to catch and fling him to the left. There's the commentary box on the right-hand side there. That's the actual secondary commentary box down at Oulton Park. You'll see it just as we come through the chicane here. Look over to the left of shot. You see a green shed. There it is. That is the secondary commentary box here at Oulton Park, and it's a beautiful place to be. Not fantastic in terms of technology, I must admit, but still a great spot for commentators. Ian Manners is just ahead of Matty Wilde on the road here for 52 Racing in car 52. I believe he's going to complete a fast lap here. He's done a personal best sector 1, but no other improvements on this lap so far. Matty Wilde's improved on sector 3. We'll have to see whether he can do anything over the remainder of the lap to improve any further. Here goes Manners across the line then. Or not. He decides that enough is enough there. It's actually Matt Bunn, apparently, that was doing a lap. Although Matty Wilde, no. Matty Wilde, apologies, has backed out. Bunny's just come out of the pits. And Roger Morton, ouch, has a big old hit with not just the right-hand wall, but the left-hand wall as well. Very easy to do that here at Oulton Park. And you can see Marcus Adams there just doing some practice starts on the exit of the pit lane. But all of a sudden now, everything is going to disappear. It's all going to go quiet for a minute. And we're going to get our first grid of the evening. It's a lovely day here at the virtual version of Oulton Park here in Cheshire in the United Kingdom. Up in the good old northwest. It's not proper north. I'm not as northern as Paul Smith, for example. But we are considered up north here in Cheshire. It's not as posh as people say it is. Neither am I. A lot of people know I'm not posh at all, to be honest with you. Pete Newman is just doing some practice starts as well. These Pure Sims guys are really trying everything they can. As Toby Ward in the chat, good to see you, mate, saying Ian Manners' livery is definitely something. I can't imagine Chaz is a fan of the bright pink wheels. Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, through when I was doing the CDM Formula 1 World Championship, there was a lot of drivers that were campaigning to paint their wheels pink, because part of the agreement between myself and drivers was that they paint their wheels a certain colour to match how the cars would have looked back in 1997, and part of that would have meant painting them, and drivers basically kept rebelling, saying that they were going to paint them bright pink, and I hated the idea, and it became one of the most wrung out jokes I've ever seen. More practice starts by Marcus Adams there in a very stealthy machine. Alexander Davidson also doing that. He's just qualified on pole, although the session has now finished, so everyone will disappear. The daylight and graphics and all sorts will flick over, and we'll have our first grid of the night. Alexander Davidson and Morgan Butler make up the front row, with Michael Evdoka and Pete Newman on row 2. Four Pure Sims cars in the top 5. Michael Havliderson starts alongside Matthew Crisp, with Alex Jenkins and Christoph Karekis. Both of their nationalities correct this week. They're on row 4. Jesper Eriksson is 9th ahead of Jean-Baptiste Maceda. Carl Hardy and Adam Delmont make up row 6. We've then got Maciek Sakovic and Andrew Jones on row 7. Mikael Lees and Ian Manners follow them. Marcus Adams is 17th, with Roger Morton in 18th place. James Neve down in 19th. He's second in the AM Championship, so he's going to want more than that. Matt Bunn lines up 20th. Matty Wilde is next up alongside Craig Jones, with Liam Silkstone and Martin Kenyon. Then we have Colin Sansom and Rob Padgham on the next row, with Esteban Rodriguez seemingly starting from the back of the grid. Now, we did note that last time out, Esteban was, let's just say, exciting in the way that he came forward through the field. And I think that maybe that might have got him in a bit of trouble, and he's had a qualifying ban for this round. You can see just how not flat Oulton Park is here. We've got drivers starting further down the hill, even further back than this. Look, if we go on board with Rob Padgham, he's halfway up Deer Leap, which is going to be a big old steep start. I think Esteban Rodriguez is probably going to start from the pit lane for this one, to be honest with you. We're just waiting now on Michael Hofleiderson. He's going to pop up on the right-hand side of your shot there, just in front of the green car of Alex Jenkins. He's just in the shadows at the moment, hoping not to be in the shadows for the remainder of the race. And it is just Esteban and Michael and Bop. There he is. And we should be ready for a start. I think Esteban is the only car holding the timer up. We've only got 10 more seconds, though, and we'll get underway. Let me know in the chat, who do you have your money on for this race? Who do you fancy? Is Alex Davidson going to take another win and manage to claw back some championship points over his rivals? Or is Morgan Butler going to be able to take his first win of the season? Let's get ready then for round number 7 of the World GR86 Series from Oulton Park, which gets underway. Plenty of smoke. You can see the wind blowing the tyre smoke away from the circuit very quickly. It's not a great start by Davidson, and Morgan Butler's gone down the inside. Evdoka tries to go around the outside. Karekis down the inside of Jenkins in the midfield there. There's a bit of argy-bargy going on, but it seems like everybody gets through safely. Everyone through Old Hall nicely. Morgan Butler leads the race, but Michael Evdoka is down his inside. The two of them teammates at Pure Sims, but not teammates in the championship. There is teammates in the championship kissing each other there, though, as Evdoka gets hit from Alexander Davidson. This is the view back from Morgan Butler, and Pete Newman's going to make it 3 wide. He's taken on his teammates before. He took on Morgan at Silverstone, and it didn't go well. Evdoka's dropping down the order. He's had a slowdown penalty. Not sure where that would have been. Surely not the inside of Cascades or anything, as dearie me, Bunny's off, and Bunny's in the wall hard. The car rolls back very, very heavily and does not come to a stop, but it's so easy to do this at Island Bend. Look at the speed of this. He's just on the outside. He's just gone a little bit too hot into there and just clips that grass. And obviously, to stop you hitting anybody on the inside of that hairpin, well, there's a big old wall in the way. Unfortunately, there's been big drama. It's down at the chicane. There's a massive pile-up. Christoph Karekis in the middle of the track. We've got Maciej Sakovic involved in this. Craig Jones is off as well. We've also got JB Masida dropping a place a bit further up the order, though. Matt Bunn's still off the road and trying to get going again. Karekis has had contact with Manners. Karekis' car's broken. He needs to park that. It's going to be causing more harm than anything else to people's race if he carries on. I don't want to see him take somebody off. Oh, dearie me, Christoph. I mean, fair effort. It's a good drifting demonstration, but still, you would want him to park that, really, as he's holding people up there. We'll have to just see what happened in a moment, but you can see there where the gap in the field is. Big old gap for sure, as Morgan Butler now leads the race. Davidson second. Then it's Hofleiderson, Newman, Crisp, Jenkins, Carl Hardy up a position as well into the top 10 as Colin Sansom's hit the wall and broken the front right by the look of it. He's just going to go and inspect the wall for further damage. But 2 minutes gone, 1 lap in the books, and boy, a big old pile-up. So Bunny went off. Evdoka and Ericsson were involved in the incident coming down to the chicane. Let's have a look. As Karekis is going to cross the front of Ericsson, and then it's all just concertinaed back into the middle of the road. So if we look then at Christoph Karekis, it was a little bit late for that. Apologies. Maciej Sakovic was involved in all this as well. Trying to find where. Okay, so here we go. So he's on the outside. I think that was JB Masida, was it? Going in a little bit too hot. And then the way the car just rolls backwards is so unfortunate. Maciej Sakovic headbutting the side of Karekis' car. And then there's a couple of them all sat off the road there at one side. James Neve involved in that as well. So the two AM Championship leaders, or the top two at least, in the AM Championship, both involved. Butler is now down to second place. He's got Alex Davidson in front of him. Pete Newman right behind him. And then look at that. Michael Hofleiderson putting the pressure on. Alex Jenkins sitting a little bit further back from this. He's going to be happy to sort of watch from a distance, I imagine, for a little bit as this quartet makes its way around. Carl Hardy is leading the way in the AM class. You'll see that at the top of your screen there. He's 7th outright. Andrew Jones is in 10th. You can tell the Pro and AM drivers apart based on the coloured strips next to their names on the left-hand side. The reds are the Pros, as you see at the top, and the blues are the AMs. Everybody taking liberties with track limits. Everybody posting fastest laps as the time comes down and down and down. By the look of it, we've got 4 cars that have been affected by incidents so far. Jesper Eriksson, Michael Evdoka, Matt Bunn and Martin Kenyon. Martin Kenyon has just come back out on track though. That means we have 23 cars still running. There was an issue for Matthew Crisp as well on that lap. He's been off the road for a couple of seconds. Side by side here with Pete Newman. Now this was as they were in the top 5 as... Oh, what on earth? What on earth? I don't know whether Crispy just went late on the brakes there or whether there was a kiss from Alex Jenkins behind him. No, he just went straight on by the look of it. It's a real shame for Matthew Crisp. He's now still having to fight his way back through here. He's got Adam Delmont around him as well. He's got Carl Hardy behind who doesn't want to fight too hard as... Oh no, JB Mercedes around. I thought they looked like they got close together on the way into the chicane. I'm not sure if contact caused him to bounce off like that. As he tries to struggle to get back on now, having a bit of a nightmare of it. That now means that there's no cars between Carl Hardy, who leads the AM class, and Andrew Jones is up into second place in said class. Bit of damage on the front right and on the rear of Andrew's car. He was definitely involved in the shenanigans down at the chicane, that is to be sure. Liam Silkstone, by the way, has gained 12 places in this race so far. Marcus Adams, who's third in the AM class, has gained 7. Rob Padgham's gained 8. So some big movers. There's a bit of a moment for Liam. Oh, that's more than a bit of a moment. That is race-ending stuff and nearly bounces into the path of the other cars. Somehow doesn't collect anybody else, but boy, that was a big old hit, that. That was a big, big accident for Liam Silkstone. Again, just shows you how easy it is to do. He's on the throttle, it slightly steps out, he's on the grass, and then all of a sudden it lights up the rears. He's not got all the power in the world, this car, but my God, that was close, wasn't it? It hasn't got all the power in the world, like I say, but it's so easy to light up those rear tyres and have a colossal, colossal accident. So, Alex Davidson leads this race at Oulton Park then, 6 minutes and 20 seconds gone. And he's got Morgan Butler, Pete Newman, Michael Hefliderson, and then Alex Jenkins queuing up behind. He's then got 3 seconds back to Adam Delmont. And then he's got Matthew Crisp within about a second. Carl Hardy not too far behind that. It's a bit spread out then, but then within the AMs, we've got a great battle going on here. Marcus Adams ahead of Matty Wilde, Mick Ellis, Ian Manners, then James Neve, and then JB Mercedes at the back of this as well. But this is fantastically close now between these guys. It's all going to be down to who makes a mistake first, I think. Although, there's a decent run there by Ian on the back of Mikkel. Is he going to look to go down the inside? He wants to be careful, nearly making contact through there, because all you need to do is unsettle the back end of these cars that tiny bit and they'll go around. But look how close they can race each other, and they can follow so closely as well. As it looks like Ian was lining it up to have a go down the inside there, but Mikkel does not think anything of it. Doesn't defend against it because it doesn't exist. It actually looked like Lee's got a fantastic run there on Matty Wilde. He flings the car out to the right-hand side. Surely he's not going to try it down the inside at Old Hall. You really do compromise yourself through there, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Ian Manners take both of these pair. He's just going to have to give him a bump. He doesn't even go for that. But look at how compromised they both were as they went side by side through Old Hall Corner. It's not an easy place to go side by side. Neither is Cascades, and they've done a great job of it. Lovely shots, though, from on board Ian's car. Matty needs to be careful now that he doesn't come across the front of Mikkel. He's not leaving all the room in the world. Then again, he's moved back over to the left now. Ian Manners tries it down the inside through Island Bend. That's brave. Mikkel's on the gravel, on the grass, and he's in the wall. He is out of the race. It's just inevitable. I know it seems horrible, but if you're off there, if you've overdone it, you are out of the race, I'm afraid. And I would not advise, again, that Mikkel drives such a battered car back. It's not going to be easy to control that. And we would not want him to hit somebody else. So, back at the front, where nobody's off. Oh, Martin Kenyon's actually had an off as well, you know. Martin Kenyon's had a moment. Is he going to clip the curb on the right-hand side on his way down to Cascades? Or is he going to clip the grass on the outside as he turns in? No, he's just gone in too hot. It's trying to go, it's trying to go, it's trying to go. And it's gone. And I think that, unfortunately for Martin, was the straw that broke the camel's back. Jonathan Walker shouting for a medic. Yep, not surprised. I can tell you that Mikel Lees, as you would have seen just there on your timing screen on the left, or the timing tower I should say, has just popped back to the pit lane now, so he's decided that maybe it's not best to drive it back. Hofleidesen then, we're on board with the Swede now. 4th place for AM Racing Team. He's got Jenkins a little bit behind him, and he had Newman right on the nose of his car just a moment ago. And now Newman all of a sudden is attacking Morgan Butler, and not for the first time this season. The two of them came together at the end of the very first race of the season and gave Naveed Hussein the race victory. Naveed unfortunately not here tonight. He's been one of the stars, or was one of the stars at least in the first round, but we haven't seen him since. But Naveed is always quick in whatever I commentate on him racing in, if that makes sense. Onto the back straight we go then. Hofleidesen's not going to get that much of a slingshot here on Newman. He's just going to have to push him and hope that there's some sort of NASCAR effect here. Over the top of the hill. He's down the inside into the chicane. He's gone later on the brakes as well. Tries not to hit Butler. Still side by side. Careful not to turn in on one another. And still Newman holds on. Good stuff by Pete Newman. Oh, Mikael Lees. Oh, he still actually is driving the car back. It said he went to the pits a minute ago. Oh, Mikael. Well, he might consider that faster than towing the thing and having to wait for it to appear back in the pits, but still. This battle carries on. Ian Manners is now ahead of Matty Wilde, actually. Let's see how he did this. The two of them actually swapped places a couple of times towards the end of the lap. Just in front of them was JB Masida as well through all of this. Oh, that's feisty stuff by both of them as they lean on each other. And then James Neve, I believe that is, trying to get involved as well. As, oh, dearie me, there's been an off. Liam Silkstone is off the circuit, but who else has been off? Because there was a bumper in the middle of the road there. What on earth? Was it Andrew Jones for DCW? It was. Andrew Jones for DCW is off from 2nd place in the AM class and gives the position to Marcus Adams. Oh, it's so easy to do that round Druids. Martin Kenyon saying he's been given 2 jump start penalties. Oh, flipping heck. Not sure why you would have been given 2, Martin. Sorry to see it, buddy. The battle at the front carries on. Alex Jenkins still holding on in 5th place here. There's a back marker up ahead, which they are going to have to negotiate their way through. But the top couple of cars only separated by about 1.3 seconds at the moment. As Hofleidesen again tries a move. Moves to the left-hand side of Pete Newman. He's going to be on the outside for the first part of the chicane. Oh no, Pete moved to the left on the brakes. And is Hofleidesen going to collect anybody? Somehow no. It looked like a little tiny movement by Newman on the brakes. These cars do move around on the brakes though. They're like the TCR cars in a way, where they can sort of warble about a little bit. But look, Hofleidesen's over on the left. He makes a tiny jink to the right, but Pete's move over to the left is larger than Michael's move to the right, unfortunately. Michael carries on in 5th position, but he's lost that group by quite a distance now, and he will be gutted about that one. Butler's having a good race at the moment, sitting in 2nd position, the privateer for this series. Backmarkers making it clear that they're moving out of the way. I think that is Colin Sansom in the Year 1 machine. He's going to have to try and make sure that he's clear of these guys, or out of Alex Jenkins' way at least. As Alex tries to fly through, he's going to stay over on the left-hand side. Alex moves on the right, and the Canadian is now up into 4th place. Little battle going on further down actually between Liam Silkstone and Andrew Jones. They've both had big accidents at Druids and spins elsewhere on the circuit as well. This is the battle for 9th and 10th place in the AM class. 2 closest cars together on track at the moment actually. As that is a hell of a run by Andrew Jones. He's going to move to the inside of Liam Silkstone. Is he going to be able to do it on the brakes? They both brake about the same time. Jones makes the apex, makes the move. Lovely. Nice tidy stuff that. Liam Silkstone will not take that line down though. He's going to want to come back at him. But we need to move a bit further up the order and look at this, because while we have Ian Manners on our screen, we've got James Neve right behind him. James, for work guard by result, is hoping for a good result. Right up there in the AM Championship at the moment. Right behind Championship leader Maciej Sakovic. And as they go nice and gently onto the brakes, it doesn't seem like a big drama, does it, this car? But that's often the most sort of misleading thing with race cars, is that the sort of not ridiculously paced cars like this that it's harder to get a little bit more time out of are often the ones that are more fun to drive because you've got longer to think about what you're doing, but also more infuriating to drive because getting that extra tenth just seems impossible because of how slow they can feel. It's quite interesting to watch, really, when you get top-level drivers that are trying to squeeze every penny out of these machines and get their money's worth. Mikel Lees has unfortunately been off the road again here at Druids. He's having a race to forget. That looks a little bit too hot into there for me, Mikel. Just slightly off on the exit, and he manages to recover. If I had a quid. So back at the front, 15 minutes gone, 3/4 of the race complete. Alex Davidson is doing everything he needs to do at this moment in time. He's running a very clean race, and he's leading his teammate by about 0.8 of a second. We've just had a purple sector 3 by Michael Hofleidersen in 5th place. And he's not like he's got any slipstream or anything, so he's really on a mission here. So keep your eye out on Hofleidersen, the Swede in 5th place. Hasn't been a purple sector 4. There's apparently 7 sectors over the course of this lap, though. It's quite a long circuit here at Oulton Park. 1 minute and 46 seconds is the fastest lap of the race. 1:46.03 by Michael Hofleidersen. But Alex Davidson is still doing 46.2s at this moment in time. Pete Newman did his fastest lap of the race last time round as well, a 46.11. Rob Padgham has unfortunately had a big moment. And this is into the Shell Oils hairpin, as it was once known. Oh, the back end goes on the change downs, and because of that horribly, horribly tightly angled curb and grass mound on the inside, you can see it unsettled the car and lifted the wheels off the ground. Hofleidersen does the fastest lap of the race in instant response to Alex Davidson. And now he tries to catch up with Alex Jenkins. Alex is still 0.95 of a second ahead, and then it's 2 seconds up the road to Pete Newman, so I'm not sure if Hofleidersen's going to be able to do enough about those guys yet. Carl Hardy continues to lead the AM class. Doing a very solid job right now. He's got about 12 seconds over Marcus Adams, actually, in class. He's got JB Masida between the two of them, but JB is a good, well, 10 seconds behind Carl as well. Battle going on here, though, with James Neve and Ian Manners. James still not able to get past. He's going to try it through Island Bend. Is Manners going to be able to hold on around the outside and not go off the circuit? You can see him had to slow down there a little bit. Make sure he still made the corner. Neve goes ahead into the hairpin. I love that shot on the exit there as they come out of the bowl that it is. And the car meets a little bit more of a flat camber on the exit. Up over the crest of the hill. Past Hilltop and then back down towards the chicane. The chicane at Foster's is so tough. You've got to really chance it with those tyre stacks, and then there's no tyre stack on the apex here at Knickerbrook, so it's so hard to judge. Ian was on the throttle a little bit eager there. He's pushed his luck a bit. Matty Wilde is not really closing in that much behind, so he doesn't have too much to worry about right now. The biggest mover in the field is still Rob Padgham. He's gained 9 spots since this race began. And these guys, either side of Ian, James Neve and Matty Wilde, have gained 8 places each up to this point. Further up, a bit more civil war going on at Pure Sims as Morgan Butler is ahead of Pete Newman. Hopefully he doesn't get a slowdown penalty for that, because you can pick them up quite easily on the exit of there now. They've become a bit more strict on slowdown penalties on parts of the circuit like that. I think Morgan has got away with it. Just doesn't look like they can do enough at the moment to catch this man. Alex Davidson leads the way by 1.3 seconds right now. Let's see what Pete Newman's doing in terms of the slipstream here. I don't think he's got enough to overtake Morgan. He might just be waiting for the final couple of laps. 1 minute left to go on the clock, so we're going to get one more lap after this. Look how much these guys are pushing now. Really pushing. They'll feel the rumble of those curbs, much like you can if you get obviously one of the wonderful Butt Kicker systems. Butt Kicker, the sponsor of this fantastic championship, partnered with Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography as well. As Ian Manners, well, he's saying forget the manners. He's all over the back of James Neve now. He wants that class podium position back. Pushing him up Clay Hill. Something a little bit sad as well today is that the bridge is no longer there at Clay Hill. I think it gets installed for the start of the season. Jakub Szymanski saying in the YouTube chat that he loves him some bright pink wheels. They're very, very bright, aren't they? They are remarkably bright. Alex Davidson now on his final lap of the race. Morgan Butler and Pete Newman only about 3/10 apart. We'll go on board with Pete, see what sort of run he can get out of Cascade, see whether he can do enough to catch up to Morgan. I don't think the slipstream's going to help him enough here. 160 kilometres an hour. Up through 175, 180, and then lifting off for Island Bend. He's trying to tuck the car in by clipping that curb and the grass on the inside. And now feeds the power back in again. This is where the slipstream is going to be strong for Pete as he gets over Hilltop. He's got a great run. They go past the Britain's chicane. Flat out down here. On the international layout, you would be going through that chicane. Look, Pete's backing out here. He's not going for a move. He's decided against it. He's just holding on for championship points, I think, at this rate. Neve's still in a battle, but now it's gone the other way. He's right behind Marcus Adams all of a sudden. He wants second place in class now after being attacked for third by Ian Manners. That's all gone completely the other way around. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Adams will do everything he can to hold on to that position. It looks like it's going to be Carl Hardy just a couple of cars ahead of them. Oh, excuse me, cameraman. That's going to take the win in the AM class, but taking the win at the very front of the field is going to be this man, Alex Davidson. A very tidy drive, lovely performance, and that is maximum points from the first race of the night for Alex Davidson of Pure Sims Esports. Morgan Butler finishes second, and Pete Newman makes it a Pure Sims 1-2-3 effectively on the podium. Jenkins is fourth with Michael Hefliderson fifth ahead of Matthew Crisp, and Carl Hardy is going to take the win in the AM class. Some will say he was helped by the incident earlier on in the race, but still, he had to drive it and keep it tidy, and he's done exactly that. The battle for second place in the AMS is going to go down to the wire, but it's not going to be enough from James Neve, and Marcus Adams is going to finish in second. Oh no, they've just outdone Delmont. That's Delmont and his teammate. No, it's not his teammate. Well, it's one of them, Mikkel Lees. He's trying to push Adam. Has Adam run out of fuel? What on God's earth has happened here? Oh no, Adams asked him for a push because he's run out of fuel and he's going to turn him. Oh, boys. I hope you've all got your head in your hands like I have right now. Oh, dearie me. What a great race with Pure Sims Esports, though. It may have been only Alex from Pure Sims Esports on the podium, with Michael Avdoka not finishing the race. But I tell you what, they'll be happy back at Pure Sims with that one. That is safe to say. Right, before we go through the race results, it's time to have a quick look at the reverse grid spinny wheel here at WSR and at Chaz Draycott Media, sponsored by Butt Kicker, and I've just tried to click it on. Yeah, I'll explain that in a minute. Anyway, we'll give it a spin. This is determining how many positions on the grid will be reversed. And it's going to be looking like 23. It is indeed 23. So who is that going to put on pole position for the second race of the night? Martin Kenyon, the Spirit of Yorkshire driver, is going to go on to pole position. And he'll be, I was going to say over the moon with that, but I can't imagine that that's going to be the best news in the world for Martin. He might not be too confident from the front of the race, but we'll see. Let's have a look at our race result then. Alexander Davidson takes the race victory. Very well done indeed by Alex. Sturdy job from the very start. Morgan Butler finishes in second with Pete Newman rounding out the podium. Fury Simsports' Alex Jenkins finishes in fourth. Next up it was Michael Hefliderson in fifth ahead of Matthew Crisp. Then it was Carl Hardy finishing in seventh. And he wins the AM class in that race. JB Masida recovered to 8th position despite a lot of shenanigans from him. Marcus Adams is 9th ahead of James Neve, and those two continue and finish the AM class podium. Ian Manners finishes 11th ahead of Matty Wild in 12th. Roger Morton 13th, Craig Jones in 14th. Christoph Karekis recovers to 15th after a nightmarish first lap. Then Rob Padgham is 16th, Andrew Jones 17th, and Liam Silkstone just behind them in 18th place. Then it was Adam Delmont with Colin Sansom in 20th. Delmont will be gutted about that. Mikael Lees finishes 21st. Sakovic is 22nd, and Martin Kenyon classified 8 laps down in 23rd. Jesper Eriksson is 24th. Michael Evdoka, Matt Bunn and Esteban Rodriguez either did not complete or did not start the race. So, first race of the night complete. The series admins will now get hard at work to bring us the second race of the evening, but we're just going to go to a quick ad break here on Chaz Draycott Media, and then we'll just wait our turn, essentially, to get back in for the second race. Do not go anywhere, everybody. The second race of the night in the World GR86 Series is coming right up.
Four French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. They're 3 wide again. Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across. They're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
But before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy. You know, these are 5-ton machines, 1,200 horsepower brake. Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, you can look and the drift to show off. Ben Gregory now, I love this. 18.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment. Make it mine, hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Stop the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment. Make it mine, hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away? Do you make it go away?
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott here for the World GR86 Series, rounds 7, 8 and 9 from Oulton Park here on Chaz Draycott Media. Hope you all enjoyed that first race of the night. Plenty of action in that one, and we're going to be hoping for more of the same. The reverse grid for tonight's second race, I should say, is 23, which means that Martin Kenyon is going to start this race from pole position, and there's going to be a lot of drivers all clambering and scrambling from the further back positions to try and get ahead. This circuit is not easy at all, and we saw a number of drivers having mistakes and accidents and spins and bits of contact here and there in that first one. But to be honest, it's usually a bit more of a bloodbath here at Oulton Park. I have to admit, there's a lot of criticism comes to this circuit based on how wide it is and some of the cars that race around it. Even the British Touring Car Championship and British GT Championship, you know, race cars are very large these days, and they do unfortunately struggle to fit all of them around sometimes. But cars like this are perfect for Oulton Park. They've not got all the power in the world. They're not massive aero machines that are cornering at stupid speeds. They're just proper drivers' race cars. And this is going to feel like a really fun night for some of these guys racing in these machines. We didn't see too much of Matthew Crisp in that first race after he had his little off and his moment, but hopefully we're going to see more of him in the second race of the night, because he's been pretty exciting, although that's maybe a little bit too exciting for his own good there. Sorry, Matt. Colin Sansom also had a bit of drama in that first race, going off at the final corner on the exit of Lodge and hitting the outside wall. Marshall's reported that he did actually go back and repair the barrier himself as well. Adam Delmont will be hoping to save his blushes after that first one. He's going to be starting right near the front of the grid for this second race. So he's going to be hoping and praying that this one will work for him. As that was a lovely drift around Knickerbrook there, Adam. It's not ideal for lap times, but it certainly looks the part. 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock, and then this practice session between races will be all done and dusted. What do you all think for Michael Avdoka's chances here? He's going to be starting from right near the back of the field. And if you know Michael, you know that he is one of those drivers that can really fly through the pack and carve his way through, so long as he keeps his nose clean. It's very, very easy in championships like this, where, admittedly, you know, there is quite the spread in the pace from the front to the back of the field, and that's just normal. But it's just about patience as a driver, you know. No disrespect to any of them, but Michael will be considerably quicker than some of the drivers that you'll see near the back of the pack. But it's just knowing to brake that little bit earlier, to maybe expect them to turn in when you have got a tiny bit of an overlap. You know, just a bit of disregard sometimes for faster cars coming through in positions where they wouldn't normally expect to have someone try and go down the inside. It can be a bit of an interesting concoction, but we are about to find out how it all goes down anyway. JB Masida, fastest in this little warm-up session at the moment. I think that's going to be an improvement as well. It is 146.591, puts him even further ahead in this one, but that's all just bragging rights for now. It is all one large fruit swinging competition at this point. Jenkins, there you go. He gets... yeah, I'm not even going to say it. But Alex Jenkins takes the fastest time in the practice session between the two races. I'm going to take the graphics away because you're not allowed them. And then we're going to get the second grid of the night here at Oulton Park, waiting for it all to work itself out. And there we go. Martin Kenyon on pole position alongside Maciej Sakovic. Watch out for Maciej, potential race winner there. Mikael Lees and Colin Sansom on row 2. Adam Delmont in 5th with Liam Silkstone behind. Then it's Andrew Jones and Rob Padgham on row 4. Christoph Karekis and Craig Jones next up, rounding out the top 10 ahead of Roger Morton and Matty Wilde. Then it's Ian Manners and James Neve, Marcus Adams and JB Masida. We then have Carl Hardy and Matthew Crisp, Michael Hafliderson next up alongside Alex Jenkins, Pete Newman and Morgan Butler. Then it's Alex Davidson and Jesper Eriksson, and at the back of the grid in 25th position we have Monsieur Evdoka. So there is Martin Kenyon on pole, ready to go, and behind him a very eager field of cars. Maciej Sakovic starting from second place on that front row, on the left hand side the yellow car, and Adam Delmont 5th, the orange and green machine with all of his next gen teammates around him. Keep your eyes on them because round 8 of the World GR86 series is underway from Oulton Park. Looks like a smoke-free start for Adam Delmont. Has that helped him out though? I'm not sure, but through the middle at the front tries to go Mikael Lees, but Maciej Sakovic has managed to get his nose down the inside and up a position instantly. He takes the race lead. Is there any drama on the exit of the corner? There's usually a lot of shuffling about. All of the pro drivers in the field basically put towards the back of the pack. Going further up the order, listen out for a bit of argy-bargy. I think there was maybe a position change in the middle here. This is Matty Wilde. We're going to go on board with Matty. Looked like there was a car going off there for a second, but maybe not. Matty currently finds himself 14th at the moment, ahead of Carl Hardy behind JB Masida, who's trying to go down the inside of Ian Manners into Island Bend. Watch out for any stragglers going off. There's a car around in front, and he's right in the middle of the pack. How on earth did he save that? Oh, he didn't. He didn't, and I think it's Colin Sansom. Oh, he slammed on the brakes, and he's gone off into the barriers. Colin Sansom is off in the wall, and who's that with him? It's the 612 of Rob Padgham. Carl Hardy's had problems as well, but Colin Sansom, well, he's been accident-prone, unfortunately, in the first couple of rounds of the season. Pete Newman has been off as well. Colin Sansom has jumped back to the pits, and Maciej Sakovic leads the race as, oh, dearie me, Delmont's been head-butted into the chicane there by Andrew Jones. Kenyon trying to stay out of the way. Christoph Karekis sees this as an opportunity to take a very strong haul of points. But wow, very, very busy moment there. And it was all down to, I think it was Colin Sansom that originally went off. Let's have a look. So Rob Padgham, yeah, it was Colin Sansom going around. Rob Padgham went straight into the back of him, and then, yeah, more and more contact. Carl Hardy, I think, had a separate incident, maybe. Although I can't seem to... Bear with me on this one. Carl Hardy was just behind this, I think. Oh, he slams on the brakes. Oh, and he just gets nailed. And somehow... Oh, there is contact. There's contact with more than one of the Pure Sims cars there as they all try and filter their way through the accident. But it was Colin Sansom just losing the back end as he went through Island. And Rob Padgham, unfortunately, went from the right over to the left. Right in the worst possible moment, unfortunately. Maciej Sakovic leads this race, though, and he's going to be very happy with that. Martin Kenyon and Liam Silkstone right together as they go around Island. Liam nearly lifting the back of Martin's car off the floor. He's going to chase him round the Shell Oils hairpin, as it will always affectionately be known. It's like the final corner at Monza. Apparently now it's called Curva di Alboreto, but in my head that's a lie. It's Parabolica. This is Craig Jones looking back at Matthew Crisp, who's going to give him a bit of a push over the hill. It's like the Battle of Britain Memorial flight there. As Crispy backs out of it, brakes a little bit earlier. Now waits for his opportunity on the exit. He's trying to just push Craig. Oh, he's literally pushed him off the road. Oh, Crispy, we were at the scene of the crime, my friend. And that's what I was on about, you know, as a faster driver coming through the order past some of the AM drivers. They're not all slower on paper, but you just have to be prepared for them to be a little bit slower on apex. And Craig Jones has only just recovered. He's going to be fuming with that one, though. It was such a tiny tap, and unfortunately the car went around. Kenyon now under attack as JB Masida gains 2 places in just as many corners. He's really flying. Morton has to get out of it. Crisp and Hafliderson are going to now suddenly slot in here as well. We'll go on board with Michael Hafliderson, shall we? You can see just how busy this feels from inside the car. We didn't actually have a proper onboard shot in the first race. Apologies for that. Delmont now moves up into second place. He's got past Mikel Lees and will go chasing down Sakovic for the lead. Crispy's on the right-hand side of Martin Kenyon. Tries it around the outside at Cascades. Can he make that work? Don't think he will, and Hafliderson has to get out of it to make sure it doesn't hit him, and then, well, gives him a hell of a bump as they go down the back straight. There's almost 3 wide in the background there by the look of it. There's cars shuffling around all over the place. Who's that? Alex Davidson, of course, making his way through the pack. He won a reverse grid race at Hockenheim as well and was on absolute fire there. He's gained 11 spots in this race so far. JB Masida has gained 10. But it's Sakovic, Delmont, Lees, Karekis, Jones, Masida, Silkstone, Crisp, Kenyon, and then Michael Hafliderson rounding out your top 10 at the moment. He's stuck in battle at the moment with these boys, though, as they go up over Hilltop. He's pushing Crispy past Martin Kenyon. This is where they need to be careful on the brakes. You'll see Kenyon move over to the left-hand side. He's going to afford them as much room as he can. Hafliderson doesn't want to go in deep. He doesn't want to also cut across the front of Martin Kenyon just like that, because he'll end up spun off the road. And oh, dearie me. Oh, goodness, there's been a bigger shunt as well. Kenyon involved in more contact. Car off the road. Was that Hafliderson? Oh, that was naughty. That was very naughty. Who was that? Was that Avdoka? Yes, Michael Avdoka benefiting there from the good old tactic on iRacing of having a yellow flag in front of you and keeping it pinned. Jesper Eriksson was the car off and is off again now in the barrier. The damage clearly affecting him. But wow, that went south very quickly there. Let's have a look at what happened to Hafliderson. So there's an overlap and a little bit of netcode involved, but at the end of the day, Kenyon was still there down the inside. And then what happened after that? Oh, we didn't see. Oh, well, Jesper's through. Straight into the side of him. And look at Avdoka sneaking through the middle of it all up there at the top of your shot. Not quite sure what caused all of this. Alex Davidson apparently going off the road. So there's Hafliderson getting spun. So Manners is on the inside. Oh, Manners puts his nose down the inside of Kenyon. And then it's just all one big incident. But then keep your eye out for Michael Avdoka coming through. He says, thank you very much, guys. I'll have all of those positions. See you in a bit. Well, well, well. Unfortunately, Jesper Eriksson is out of the race by the look of it. He had a further incident, didn't he, as he went up to the top of the hill. We will have a look back at that, actually. Martin Kenyon had another incident as well. So this is as he got going again. I think the car's already broken. Whoa. That's like he's let go of the wheel there. And all of a sudden it's... the wheel's just... yeah. Not quite sure what's happened there. And Martin Kenyon was already out of the race at that point and back into the pit lane. So Sakovic is second now. Adam Delmont has taken the race lead. And it was quite a while ago that Delmont did that by the look of it. I'm really sorry. He's too busy focusing on the incidents and all the chaos that happened behind. Although, was it that long ago? Or was Majek just... did Majek have an issue and then Delmont's overtaken him? I can't seem to... there it is. Oh, just on the exit of the Shell Oils hairpin. Gets a really good run. I don't think Majek's going to fight this one too hard, but down towards the chicane, he's just going to make a simple move to the inside line. These two have been racing each other for a long, long time as well. And then Adams just later on the brakes. Nice job. Now, Sakovic has somehow overtaken Delmont again. No. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to find the right move here. But there's so much actually happening now. This car's going off and people overtaking each other. I think Delmont has had a slowdown penalty. And then, wow, that is one hell of a moment for Adam Delmont through turn one. Sakovic gets the lead back and says thank you very much. Mikel Lees also got overtaken just before that. And that was him dropping down from what was third into fourth. Now, Rob Padgham has had a moment for 52 Racing. It's going to snap one way and go around. Easy to do that, though. Now, this is the battle for the lead here. Maciej Sakovic leading Adam Delmont. Christoph Karekis, the Hungarian, says, thank you very much. I'll have some of this. He's got Mikael Lees behind him, so we've got the 2 top pro drivers in the race and the 2 top AM drivers in the race. The AMs are 1st and 4th, and the pros are 2nd and 3rd. This group has only got 1.6 seconds over Andrew Jones behind them as well, so it's not like they can afford to just play around for the entire race, because they've not got a huge buffer back to the following cars that could take advantage of this. We ride on board now with Mikael Lees for Next Gen Racing. It's his teammate Adam Delmont that is currently 2nd in this race. As there's moves further down the order going on here, there's a battle between Alex Jenkins and James Neve, who are side by side into the lodge. Just behind them as well is Morgan Butler trying to carve his way through the pack, and look at that lovely opportunism there by Morgan. He sees a gap opened up by Jenkins and he goes for it. Lovely job. Back to the front, Delmont side by side with Karekis. This could get feisty indeed. 2 of these drivers, both very forceful racers, really aggressive drivers, but great fun to watch all the same. I don't know who to put my money on for this one, if I'm honest with you. All I would put my money on is Maciej Sakovic breaking away slightly if they continue to fight. But it looks like Delmont has turned his attentions to the race leader right now. He gets a great exit out the Shell Oils hairpin, and he's going to get a really good run. Look at that, though. Instantly to the inside, Maciej Sakovic goes defensive. And Delmont is not going to get a big slipstream here. I don't know where he's trying to go. Adam, mate. There was not a gap on the right. There was only grass. And unfortunately, Delmont has caused a rather silly incident there. There was no need to try and find a gap there at all. Maciej goes to the inside because he knows that's exactly where you want to be. There's not a car's width there. Maciej's on the white line and Adam hits the back of him. I'm not best pleased with that one, and I imagine series admins will see that the same way. Christoph Karekis now has the race lead though because of that, and I imagine that looked very dramatic from where he was. Mikael Lees is still in 3rd place for Next Gen Racing, and he leads the AM class in this one. Andrew Jones is just behind though, only a couple of seconds back, 5th place outright. JB Masida between them. He's gained 12 places in this race, and look at that there. That's Matthew Crisp in the Hurricane. He's come through. Michael Avdoka's gained 17 spots. Alex Davidson's gained 14. Jenkins has gained 10. Morgan Butler's gained 11. So some of the guys from the very front of the field in that first race that got reversed all the way back down the order have had a real fly through the pack once again. We ride on board now with race 1 winner Alex Davidson. And now, all of a sudden, he's got a great run on his teammate Michael Avdoka, but it does not work for him. Following very closely. And I think they're just going to be working together here to try and get further forward. This is just going to be all in benefit of going after the race leaders. And look, they're going to let each other overlap and get the slipstream dealt with on the easy bits. And now Davidson's going to lead for a little bit as well. Karekis, well, he's already been leading for a little bit. He's led an entire lap now of this race, and he's still ahead of Adam Delmont. I think he's going to be a bit scared now as to what Delmont might do to him after that murder that we just witnessed. I don't have a direct line for the police other than 999, to be fair. Mark Russell saying hello on the Facebook chat. Sorry, not on the YouTube chat. Good to see you, Mark. Hope you're doing all right, mate. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the wonderful Oulton Park. The virtual version of Oulton Park, of course. And welcome to Morgan Butler with Alex Jenkins right in front of him and James Neve right behind him. Morgan runs a little bit wide on the exit. Druids, the car goes one way then the other. Needs to be careful on the grass. Somehow keeps that together, and Neve says no thank you. Neve's going to try and get a cutback on him though. Watch this. No, he doesn't get the run on the exit of the corner at all. Morgan gets a superior punch off there. Davidson's just done a quick lap, 1:46.206, but that's not the fastest lap of the race. I think JB Masida has the fastest lap of the race. Either that, or Davidson had an incident point, an off-track, for example, a track limits warning, whatever you want to call it, and his lap did not count as being the fastest lap of the race because it was not considered clean as such. Interesting thing to look at is where your podium finishes are in this second race. Carl Hardy won the AM class in the first race. He's down in 16th. He started 17th. Pete Newman, I think, was involved in the incident earlier on. He's 20th. He finished third outright in the first race. Morgan Butler finished in second, and he's 11th. And race 1 winner Alex Davidson is up into 7th. He's ahead of Liam Silkstone, and Avdoka is now trying to displace him. He goes around the outside as they go over Hilltop once again. I'm wondering whether Avdoka's car is being affected by that damage on the front, because it does look like it's taken quite the hit. It may not look that bad on the surface, but underneath that could really affect the car in iRacing. It can sometimes be very misleading, the visual damage model on the outside of these cars. So this is Christoph Karekis at the very front of the field, still looking back at Adam Delmont, the Hungarian driver, racing just as a privateer for this season in car 54. JB Masida has just got past Mikel Lees in the background. They're going to come into view any moment now, and there you go, the Team Mad car up into third place outright. He was already third in class though, because let's not forget Mikel Lees leads the AM class and does not have to worry about anybody except that yellow car in the background just there, which is Andrew Jones. The DCWR machine pushing on, as we've got another battle going on here actually. Roger Morton all over the back of Michael Hafliderson, but I think Michael's just passed him actually. Let's have a look at how he did that. Michael's going to come by on the right hand side, I believe, into the final corner. This is on board with Roger Morton. And yeah, you can hear him, can't you, coming through. And there goes Hafliderson. A little bit of a wiggle on the exit though, and Roger nearly comes back at him actually. But as you see now, Hafliderson is starting to break away. Someone that's not breaking away is Karekis. He's got Delmont all over the back of him again. He's going to be staying to the right, but not too close to the right. He's going to be hoping that Delmont doesn't try and pull that same move twice. Pushing him down towards the chicane. Now hard into Foster as they go. That initial turn-in is so important in that chicane. I've driven many a sim racing car around there on different sims all over the place. Oh dearie me, that was Rob Padgham off the road on the exit of Knickerbrook, way off the road in the gravel. But I was going to say, I've driven so many cars around there at that chicane. I was just the other day racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione in the wet in a McLaren 720S, as I saw in real life today. And it felt like an absolute pig into there, but that initial turn-in is so important for opening up the second part of the chicane, and you can see the difference it makes from drivers when they throw it in that little bit too hard, or they just come off the brakes too quickly. These things are very easy to unsettle, and that's what I love about it though. It's one of those cars in iRacing that really shows you its body language. I'm going to mention it all season, because some of the cars in iRacing, you know, they're so stiff and they're so, I mean, even in real life, it's the same, you know. Some of the cars are so high performance. They're right at the top level of how they can perform. They're so stiff and still. It just doesn't look like any corners affect them at all. But in cars like this, and even in the Porsche Cup car, in the 992s as well as the 991s, you can see the car move around. You can see it lean into the corner and have a bit of body roll about it. You can see how the car is behaving and what the driver is fighting with. You know, they bounce around a little bit. It's like the suspension's made of marshmallows. And I love watching race cars do that. I love watching the way that the machine behaves, because you can only imagine what the driver is doing behind the wheel in all of this as well. And I mean, we can show you what the driver is doing in all this as we go on board with Morgan Butler as he chases down Alex Jenkins of Fury Simsport. Ahead of them, they've got Liam Silkstone in the AM class, but the blue car is Rob Padgham for 52 Racing. He's probably going to jump out of the way as we get down this back straight. Yeah, you can see it there. He's moving over to the left. Jenkins wants a bit of that slipstream. Morgan says, well, I'd rather have the shorter line around the right-hander, thank you. Padgham lets them go. And now they're going to move back over to the left. Morgan brakes once, brakes twice. Nice smooth turn in for the start of the chicane. And look, you can see the different line that they've got there to open up that second part through Knickerbrook. Morgan's just overdone it slightly there on the outside, but doesn't lose much time because of it. Matthew Crisp is ahead of Mikel Lees now. He's just done this for P4 on the exit, and again, just shows you that you can lose quite a bit of speed on that curb. And Matthew takes the long run around the outside and then puts it down the inside at Druids. Lovely move. Mikel, nice and respectful there though. He knows that he's got to hang on for a class victory in the AM class. Andrew Jones is only 2.9 seconds behind him. So it's not all plain sailing yet. He's not completely out of the woods. 2 minutes to go, which means we're going to get this lap that they've just started, and then one more here at Oulton Park. There's been a drama for Colin Sansom. He's had an off down at the chicane here. What on earth has happened here? Oh, it's not even down at the chicane. Wow, this is going to be a big one because he ended up way off the road. Oh, it's going to snap one way then the other, isn't it? Yep. And it does not want to slow down at all on the grass. So it looked like he'd gone off on the inside of the chicane, but no, he's actually gone off at Cascades there. And he's still recovering now, but it looks like he's still on the brakes. Brake lights are still lit up, and now he cracks on. Oh, Jenkins is off. Alex Jenkins is off at the Shell Oils hairpin. And he's in the barrier and back on again. Oh, goodness me. As Roger Morton suddenly appearing in shot right behind him. So he's side by side. Who's that in the black and orange machine? Is that Mikael Lees? Who was that? Was that James Neve? Oh, there's a kiss there from Morgan. And around he goes. That was Liam Silkstone, I believe, in the next gen car, actually. But tiny little kiss from Morgan Butler is all it took to unsettle the car in front. We'll go on board with Morgan and see it again. He's trying to get as close as he can, and then... Oh, it's sort of unsettled already, but then Morgan, unfortunately, delivers the final blow on that one. Christoph Karekis is crossing the line now to start the final lap of the race with Adam Delmont right behind him. Delmont's going to be pushing hard to try and make anything that he can of this one. And hopefully without contact like we saw with Magic Sakovic. Now that is a big off there for Karekis, and I would not be surprised if he gets a slowdown penalty for that one. The timer hits 20 minutes, and it looks like Karekis gets away with it. Is he able to serve it by going slowly around Cascades? Is that what he was doing there? He's not got a great run out of Cascades. Towards Island Bend now. Delmont's going to have to decide which way to go. He decides to go down the middle. And just give Christoph a kiss into there. There's no point compromising themselves. They've got 2 seconds back to JB Masida, who could very well take a race win here if this doesn't go to plan for these guys. But the Hungarian Christoph Karekis leads the race. Delmont gets a fantastic run. Karekis makes it clear again, like Magic Sakovic did, that he's going to stick to the right-hand side of the circuit. Delmont goes left. He's going to be on the outside for the first part of the chicane, but that's a great move because then he's going to be on the inside for the second bit, which is tighter. They gradually magnetise towards each other. Karekis is later on the brakes, and wow, gets it stopped very well. But can Delmont get a cut back on the exit? No, he can't. The back end gets a little bit squirrely, and Karekis carries on leading this race, and he's actually got a car length between himself and Delmont. There's a flash of the lights in the background from JB Masida. He's saying, I'm coming for you, boys. I'm chasing you down. Either that or he's willing Adam on to take both of them off the road. But look, Christoph, you can tell he's playing it safe now, and you can tell that Adam's the one pushing like mad as they go around Druids. Delmont is sideways, and that's lost him a bit of time. Are we going to see a final dive into the last corner? You'd hope not. And no, it looks like Christoph Karekis is going to get it done. What's the run off the corner like, though? Delmont's all over the back of him, but it looks like it's going to be a win for car number 54. The Hungarian Christoph Karekis wins at Oulton Park. Delmont second, JB Masida third, 13 places gained. What a drive. Matthew Crisp gains 14 spots to finish fourth, and taking the AM-class win is Mikael Lees ahead of Andrew Jones, who finishes second for DCW Racing. He finishes seventh outright. Liam Silkstone is next up. There was a car off the road. I think James Neve has just had a drama. Silkstone gets third in the AM-class, and he is ahead of Michael Hefliderson by a hair. Marcus Adams next up, James Neve behind that. James Neve was the one that went off at the final corner. Is this a battle with his teammate? It is. No, it's not. Apologies. It's the work guard car around the outside. Oh, James has just overdone it into the final corner. He's lost all the time on his own. But great battle there between Delmont and Karekis right to the end of that race. Plenty of fun, plenty of action. And as quickly as we can do, we're going to have another look at our spinny wheel to determine what the reverse grid is going to be for the final race of the night here in the World Sim Racing World GR86 Series. And it is looking like another 23. It is indeed. Now, this wheel, I have to tell you, it does spin at random speeds every time that you spin it. I did a lot of testing with this wheel to make sure that it didn't do the same thing twice and the same sort of amount of spins, so it wasn't easy to guess where it was going to land next. But nope. 23 for the second time tonight, which means that Rob Padgham is going to be on pole position alongside, get this, Martin Kenyon. Magic Sakovic, after starting second in that race, is going to start third. And then behind them, we're going to have Pete Newman, who is going to start that race in 4th. Let's have a look at the race results, though, before we jump off to the next session. Christoph Kirekis takes the race victory over Adam Delmont, and then Jean-Baptiste Maceda finishes in 3rd. Matthew Crisp finishes 4th ahead of Mikael Lees. Alex Davidson is 6th. Mikael Lees, by the way, taking the win in the AM class. Andrew Jones 2nd in the AM class, 7th outright. And then Michael Evdoka 8th ahead of Morgan Butler. Good recovery to 9th. Liam Silkstone finishes in 10th and finishes the AM class podium. Michael Herfliderson is next up in 11th. Marcus Adams is 12th. James Neve 13th ahead of Alex Jenkins. Roger Morton and Carl Hardy, the AM Class Race 1 winner, I should say, will not be too pleased with 16th outright and 7th in class. Ian Manners finishes 17th ahead of Craig Jones in 18th place. Matty Wilde was 19th with Pete Newman rounding out the 20. Magic Sakovic, the last car on the lead lap. Martin Kenyon, Rob Padgham and Colin Sansom all 1 lap down, and Jesper Eriksson unfortunately out very early in the race. So it's once again time for a quick ad break here on Chaz Draycott Media, everybody. We're going to get the final session of the night set up here, and we'll be right back with you very, very soon for the last race, round 9 of the World GR86 Series. Do not go away.
Four French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The 3 wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
Before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1200 horsepower brake. Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, you can look, and a drift to show off.
Ben Gregory now, I love this. 10.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott here for the final race of the night in the World GR86 series here on Chaz Draycott Media. It's going to be round 9 of the championship and the third race of the evening here at the glorious Oulton Park. We're using the international layout today without the Britain's chicane, which is the first chicane after what is lovingly flipping heck, Chaz, known as the Shell Oils hairpin just after Island Bend. We've had two fantastic races tonight. Podium 1 was Davidson, Butler and Newman, all Pure Sims cars, with Carl Hardy taking the honours in the AM class. And then Christoph Karekis just got his first win of the season ahead of Adam Delmont and Jean-Baptiste Maceda, with Michael Lees taking the AM class victory. We have had 23 cars reversed on the grid in both races tonight, which means that we are going to get Rob Padgham on the front row with Martin Kenyon alongside him, car 52. For the 52 racing machine of Rob Padgham, I should say, car 612 alongside 619 of Martin Kenyon. We've got cars out on track with just a few more minutes left in the session. No one really completing laps at the moment, though. Everyone's just getting onto their fast laps after jumping in. Here is your race 2 winner, Christoph Karekis. He's going to be starting in 23rd position in this race with a lot of work to do. But that's the beauty of these reverse grids. It really does throw quite the challenge at these drivers. They don't just have to make their way through the pack. They have to really work it through cars that are maybe on paper a bit slower than them. They have to display a lot of patience and a lot of self-control in a lot of places. No times on the board yet, like I say. I think there may be some coming through in just a second, but we still have 2 minutes of the session left to go. When we get to the grid, though, let us know in the YouTube chat, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or on Twitch, who do you fancy for this next race? Craig Jones puts a time on the board, and as he makes his way around turn 1, you can see just how difficult Old Hall Corner is. It's so easy to just slide the car wide and float it off the apex. And it goes over the crest of a hill on the exit as well. And you can't always see that exit curb until you are right on top of it. It's caught many drivers out in the past as Oulton Park. It's a massive challenge. Joachim Winkelhock in the mid-90s, when he first came here in the British Touring Car Championship driving for BMW, famously called it a mini Nürburgring and said that it was just a wonderful place. Now look at that, Morton and Hardy. 1/1000 of a second between them, but the timing classes it as 0, so it's less than that. They both set the time almost identically in the same moment. That's incredible. Roger Morton goes fastest, though, by nothing, quite literally nothing, over race 1 and winner, Carl Hardy. Morton's having a bit of a difficult season as well. He's had a couple of incidents so far during the championship. Not sure what the black strips are on. Oh, they are actual black lines on the car. It looked almost like someone had taped the bonnet down, didn't it, from the front? But it's part of the Result Clothing design. Lovely looking race car. Pete Newman goes fastest for Pure Sims SimLab. He's going to be hoping for a bit more luck in this race. Pete, again, another driver that's a lovely lad. Really good friends with Pete, have been for many years. And he's just often in the wrong place at the wrong time, is Pete. He always gets caught out in other people's incidents. It's a real shame. But he's racing for Pure Sims SimLab in this championship, and his teammate, unfortunately, not here for this one. He was in the session at practice at the start of the night, but it doesn't look like he's here anymore, unfortunately. But still, the timer hits 10 minutes. Everybody will disappear in just a moment's time. And then it will be time for the final race of the night, our final grid of the night as well, with the top 23 drivers from that last race reversed. Okie dokie then, here we go. Rob Padgham will start on pole position in the 612 car alongside Martin Kenyon. Then we have Magic Sakovic, Pete Newman, Matty Wilde and Craig Jones, Ian Manners and Carl Hardy on row 4, Roger Morton and Alex Jenkins next up on the 5th row. Then it's James Neve and Marcus Adams. Michael Hefliderson and Liam Silkstone are on row 7, with Morgan Butler and Michael Evdoka next up. Andrew Jones is then ahead of Alex Davidson, Mikael Leeson, Matthew Crisp round out your 20. Then it's JB Masida, Adam Delmont, Christoph Korekis, race 2 winner, Colin Sansom in at 24th, and that is going to be your entire field for this race. We'll remove some of the data on the left hand side. We'll give you a better view of the field, shall we? There you see the cars loading in, and that was the last car actually loading in, which was that Hefliderson? It was. Anyway, round 9 of the World GR86 Series from Oulton Park is underway, and it looks like a bit of a bogged down start by the front rows. A number of drivers flying through the order. Look at that, Matty Wilde in the DCW car, and Pete Newman gains 3 spots off the start, straight into the lead. There's a move down the inside there by one of the... Who was that, actually? I think it was one of the Fury Simsport cars. Alex Jenkins. Roger Morton's off the road. He's going one way, then the other, hoping not to make contact with anybody. Somehow survives it. Kenyon's 3 wide there, and that's Matty Wilde on the inside of Ian Manners, and he's biffed him off the road, and Martin Kenyon's been involved. The 2 front runners off the track straight away at Cascades. It was very, very messy. Matty Wilde made it 3 wide. He didn't need to. This is the battle for the AM-Class lead, and Padgham's off. 52 Racing go from 2 cars to none in mere moments, and bang, that's a massive hit into the wall. Rob Padgham is out of the race, and unfortunately it was his own undoing. Just tried to go a little bit too hot around Island Bend. It's so easy to do that. The battles now go on through the pack. Matty Wilde now having to defend from Carl Hardy, who's the biggest mover so far. Alex Davidson and Morgan Butler. Surprise, surprise. 7 places gained. Christoph Korekis has done the same. Alex Davidson and Michael Evdoka all over the back there, I believe, of Alex Jenkins. As, oh my goodness, Evdoka's hit Butler. Evdoka's hit Butler, and once again, Pure Sims on Pure Sims contact. And Morgan Butler, literally, as Rob Sutherland says in the chat, that Morgan's one of the unluckiest. He is off. Oh, Marcus Adams off in the barrier now as well. Mikael Lees off the circuit with him, involved in that one. Multiple incidents there on the exit of the chicane. So Rob Padgham went in the wall. And then let's have a look on board with Evdoka here. Oh, this is actually a while before that, sorry. So this is Michael Evdoka and Alex Jenkins. Oh, there's been a big crash. I can tell you there's been a big crash. James Neve and Matty Wilde have had an incident. This is Evdoka. He's gone into the... Oh, no, sorry. I thought Evdoka hit Morgan. My apologies, Michael Evdoka. My sincerest apologies. From that angle at first, I'm sure you'll all agree, it looked as if Michael had hit him as... Oh, goodness. Oh, well, that's a big old hit, that is, for the DCW car of Andrew Jones. Craig Jones is off as well. JB Masida off on the outside of Old Hall. There's been multiple big incidents, though, since then. Let's have a look here at what happened. Matty Wilde went off. This is Matty Wilde throwing it down the inside there. Oh, no. So Matty Wilde had a spin, and then Everyone piled into him, basically. There was a bunch of cars that couldn't really do anything about it. There was more incident, though, as they went up the hill by the sound of it. Oh, there was loads of them, 5 wide almost down the start-finish straight. And this is what happened at turn 1. Oh, dear. Well, Craig Jones turns in on the car on his inside. JB Masida gets involved. Andrew Jones is in that as well. Goodness me. So this is the view from Andrew Jones. So he's got a Flyderson there. He's down the inside. And Craig turns into the car in front of him. Jones bounces off Flyderson, gets hit one way, then the other. That's JB Masida hitting him in the left. Flipping heck. That is a big old mess. And Andrew Jones has jumped back to the pits. So too is Craig Jones. But unfortunately, Craig just turned into the rear end of the car, down his inside there, bounced off. It was 2 separate incidents that then compacted together. Here's Christoph Karekis down the inside of Roger Morton. Roger's currently 3rd in the AM class in this race, so he needs to hold on for good championship points. Colin Sansom has just lost a couple of spots there to Liam Silkstone and James Neve, as now Ian Manners tries to go through and go past him. It's survival of the fittest here. We've got Andrew Jones and Craig Jones both out of the race in 21st and 22nd. We've got Padgham and Butler both out of the race as Colin Sansom pushes a little bit too hard through Old Hall. Manages to catch it though and hold on, get back on the road. Very easy to do that as well around Old Hall. Pete Newman, well, he's going to watch this back and think, flipping heck, thank God I wasn't a part of any of that, because there's still battles going on all over the place. Flyderson has now been overtaken by Matthew Crisp. JB Masida has just overtaken Matty Wilde down in 18th place. JB is actually 9th in his class right now, and we're not even at the quarter-way mark of the race. So it's Newman leading. Sakovic leads the AM class 2nd outright. Carl Hardy is 3rd. He won the first race of the night in the AM class. Then it's Davidson, Jenkins, Avdoka, Crisp, Flyderson, Delmont and Karekis. Alex Davidson's gained 14 places already. Started 18th on the grid. Yes, I know, the maths isn't that difficult. And then Alex Jenkins, 5 places gained. Avdoka's gained 10. Crisp has gained 13. Flyderson's gained 5. Delmont and Karekis have gained 13 places each as well. James Neve being displaced there by Liam Silkstone. Interesting that James Neve's car's got number 7 written on the front of it, but it's actually car number 11. I think maybe he thought he was going to guarantee that number when, unfortunately, he didn't. Seen it many a time in leagues before. We've got a good little battle going on here. This is a bunch of the AM drivers, and Liam Silkstone now is 4th in the AM class. Roger Morton is 3rd, just up the road. And then behind, Ian Manners and Mikael Lees are in 6th and 7th. Colin Sansom is 3 seconds off the back of this little pack. You can see just how hard they're all pushing, though, as they go through Lodge Corner and then back on again. Oh, Carl Hardy's off the road. Oh, dearie me. It popped up that Carl had been off for a while, and then it just seems like it was him running wide out of turn 1 down at Old Hall. He's got Alex Davidson 1.6 seconds behind, but look at Alex go. He's on a real mission here. 14 places gained, like I say, and that's only in, 3 laps. We're now on the 4th lap of the race. Listen to him just modulating the throttle there, on and off as he goes around Island Bend. Just keeping the car balanced by having some throttle in. He's gained 9/10 of a second in this first sector on Carl Hardy. And he's now, of course, going to get the slipstream as well, which is going to help him close up even further. And you can bet that Alex is going to be potentially making a move up Clay Hill and down towards Druids. Here we go, into the Foster chicane. Through the right, through the left, nice and tidy. Little blip of the brakes there by Carl Hardy. Through Knickerbrook they go. Is Alex going to get the run? No, he's not actually. So maybe I overestimated the pace difference there. No disrespect to Carl. But look at that, Alex Jenkins right behind here. He started 10th in this race, so he's not gained the most places at all, but he's still sat there in the top 5, accumulating some lovely championship points, and that's all you want in a series like this, where survival is very key, safe to say, as we've seen up to this point. As down the inside goes Alex Davidson into 3rd place outright, and Jenkins is going to go through past Carl Hardy as well. He makes light work of that. Nice opportune move. Moves across the front of Carl though, just to really send the message, I think. Make sure that he knows he's been overtaken. Flyderson and Crisp and Avdoka are all chasing them down as well. Same with Karekis and Delmont. A bunch of drivers all trying to make progress further forward. This is James Neve now looking at the back of Ian Manners' car. through Old Hall. Look at how difficult it is. There's such a sharp apex, and then the corner seemingly just moves away from you as you get round there. Sakovic leads in the AM class, Newman leads in the Pro class, and the two of them are first and second outright in this race here at Oulton Park. Round 9 of the World GR86 Series, sponsored by Butt Kicker, and very proudly supported as well by Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. I think you'll agree as well that the Mr. Hedge advert that we've got the video is absolutely stunning. It's a very beautiful bit of media, that is. And speaking of, don't forget, Chaz Draycott Media, my channel, with yours truly, Chaz Draycott, commentating and broadcasting the championship single-handedly. I hope it's worth a subscription at least. It is free on YouTube. Let's not forget to subscribe. You don't have to be a member or anything of the channel, but I would greatly appreciate it if you did hit that subscribe button tonight. I'm not going to ask you to hit the notification bell thing because, let's face it, who does that? But we've actually got a battle here for the race lead, and again, it's two drivers that I've not just raced with but commentated on for years. Maciej Sakovic for Team Mad and Pete Newman for Pure Sims SimLab. Previously was CQR Club. Back when I raced for it, Pete really helped me gain a lot of iRating, racing the MX-5s quite a lot in the officials. That was at the start of 2020. My last actual official iRacing race was the Bathurst 12 Hours in 2020, where I believe Pete was one of my teammates. Actually, no, I was teammates with Morgan Butler and Chris Coughlin back then. But Pete Newman was one of my teammates in the World GT Championship, also organised by the same organisers, WSR. And we raced in the Audi R8 GT3 back in day. Gorgeous blue and black, matte black CQR Club R8 GT3, painted by the very talented Jake Blackall Knight Rider Designs. Anyway, I won't give you my full life story. Pete Newman still leads though by 0.3 of a second. Alex Davidson is bringing Jenkins with him, but he's sort of opening up a gap right now. It's 0.85 of a second as they go around the shell oils. Carl Hardy is just clinging on at the minute and hoping for some good points in second in that class, as Colin Sansom has had one hell of a moment. That's a long way from Cascades to still be off the road. Oh, he's gone very late into the right-hand kink. Into Cascades. Oh, the back end's getting away. Back end's definitely getting away. And Rydham Cowboy. Oh, no, it's going to biff into the barrier. And then I think in recovery, it's drifted out and gone to the right. Unfortunately for Colin, that's not the only moment that he's had in the last couple of laps. This is side by side with, is that Padgham or Manners? I think it's Manners. We did see that moment actually earlier on, so apologies, Colin. He's now side by side with Martin Kenyon into the chicane. A little bit of a touch on the way in. Kenyon's still got his nose down the inside though, through the left. But Sansom stays in front now, and Kenyon's going to try and focus on getting a run up the hill, but unfortunately that's not the ideal line there. But it's so easy to just dip a wheel on the inside dirt there in the curb and hook the inside of that curb, and it hops the car up in the air, just like Delmont's done there at Lodge. But you can get away with it a bit more at Lodge. It's over a crest, so it's not as deep, and it doesn't drag the car as far off the circuit. We're into the second half of this race now. There's moves going on in the background as Ian Manners and Roger Morton are side by side down into turn one. Manners goes through down the inside. Morton's going to try and get a run on the exit though as they go down the avenue towards Cascades. Is he going to be able to get alongside? He is down the inside. Go through the right. Needs to be careful on that curb because that can very easily unsettle the car as well. And Manners is through. Nice job. Or is he? Because Morton's got to run. Roger Morton all over the back of him. Jinks out to the left very quickly. He's going to be on the inside of Ireland, and he thinks, no, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to really throw that down there. Apparently, Morgan Butler has entered and exited the pits a lot in the last couple of seconds. What on earth? What on earth? Has anyone got an answer for this? I mean, yeah. All right. Roger that. Anyway, Pete Newman still leading, kissing the grass a little bit on the exit there of Druids. And you know what? Maciej Sakovic, he's not just going for a class win here. He's going for an outright victory in this championship. And I'm sure that he's definitely determined enough to go and get it. Morgan has unfortunately had to quit the session after whatever the heck that was. And he's no longer in the race after being the first retirement, hitting the inside tyre stack at the chicane. Here's a good little ding-dong going on. Carl Hardy now is going to have to defend from Michael Avdoka, Matthew Crisp and Michael Hefliderson. Christoph Karekis and Adam Delmont continuing their fight from the earlier race as Matthew Crisp does the fastest lap of this race. Let's see what Avdoka does here about Hardy. He's down the inside into Cascades. Lovely job. Now what's the compromise going to be like? And what's the pace difference going to be like as now Matthew Crisp and Michael Hefliderson try to come through? The Swedish driver just pushing him past, and yeah, to be fair, Carl Hardy backs out of it. He thinks, I'm not going to bother with you pro boys. I'm not going to bother fighting that too hard. You lot can have your own race. I want championship points in the AM class, and very rightly so as well for Carl. He's 8th overall. That's where he started the race. So at the end of the day, if you finish where you started or ahead, I'd say that's always a good result in a race. It's all about relative positions for me. And still behind these pair, we've got this great little quartet going on in the AM class. This is for the AM class podium as well. We've got James Neve here chasing down Roger Morton, Ian Manners and then Liam Silkstone. And they head their way now down towards the chicane. Keeping it nice and tidy where they can. I'm afraid Matty Wild has just had a big off. This is down at the hairpin. Oh, dearie me. I don't have a clue as to what caused that. I'm not sure whether that was a rage quit because of damage or whether there was some sort of technical issue, whether his wheel disconnected, because the car did just carry on going to the right, didn't it? Almost as if it was repeating the last input it got. Liam Silkstone's had a bit of a nightmare here through Druids, and he's all of a sudden under attack from Ian Manners. Look at Roger Morton trying to find a gap, and now James Neve's going to try and do the same. Sideways from Morton out of Lodge. Side by side, 2 by 2. Then Noah's arcing it down towards turn 1. Liam Silkstone's just in front of Ian Manners, but no, he's made contact with him. Oh, Ian moves around across the back of the car. You've got to be more careful than that, boys. He's right on the apex, and oh, dearie me, Manners is across the apex of the corner, but it's just unnecessary. You've got to be so careful when you're chasing the car in front like that. You can't move around across the rear bumper. You can push them in a straight line, but a move like this, that's just plain murder when you look at it like that. It's a sickening impact with the wall, one car either side, and then I mean, Ian should have tried to get it stopped as well. As contact there with the number 5 of Mikael Lees. Sometimes these cars do not stop at all, though, so, you know, that might have been a final unfair comment against Ian there, saying that he should have got it stopped, because sometimes they just don't. We've seen them with damage. We've seen how they roll. They just do not stop when they've had a hit, and it can be devastating because they come back onto the road so quickly. But unfortunately, that was just a move that was a little bit unnecessary from Ian Manners. It was a bit too dangerous to cut across the back of a car, and I imagine now Liam Silkstone is going to be a very angry boy. Carl Hardy now second in the AM class. I say still. No, I didn't say still. Shut up, Chaz. Carl Hardy remains in second. There you go. You can edit the other bit out. Roger Morton is third in the AM class, as we look at him here, ahead of James Neve, and then Mikael Lees is 5.8 seconds behind that. So they've got a bit of daylight now between themselves and the rest. But there's no daylight between these pair. Still Pete Newman leads, and still Maciej Sakovic sits there behind him, putting the pressure on as this race continues. Down the back straight they go, towards what would be the island hairpin, but is Island Bend, and look, you can see Maciej just backing out of it. This has been a very attritional race, this one, though. We've lost 7 cars currently. Morgan Butler, Rob Padgham, Andrew Jones, Craig Jones, Matty Wild, Liam Silkstone, and now Ian Manners in the pits. Love this view back, though, from Pete Newman. Just looking at the rear wing of this car. It's a gorgeous looking rear wing on this machine, but you can see, though, Maciej is not forcing the issue here. He's not making him defend. He's not causing any problems, because he knows that just that pair behind them, 2 Alexes, Alexander Davidson and Alex Jenkins, both have the pace and the ability to be able to take a race win here in this current situation. Davidson's actually done a purple sector 2 on this lap, so he's really pushing, and he wants to go and help his Pure Sims stablemate, Team Team Newman? No, Pete Newman, sorry. Pete may be in Pure Sims Sim Lab in this race, and Davidson might be in Pure Sims Esports in this race, but you've still got to think that there's going to be the best interests of Pure Sims in general at heart here for Alex Davidson. Showing you just how steep Deer Leap is. We've got 2 minutes to go, so the lap that we've just started now, which is the 11th lap of this race, is going to be the penultimate one. We're going to have another 12-lap race here at Oulton Park. The pace has been good in this one because Pete Newman has led the race pretty much unchallenged. He's not had Majek diving around all over the back of him trying to make moves. We go on board now with Michael Hafliderson. Matthew Crisp just in front of him. And just in front of Crispy is Michael Avdoka. You can see they're really trying to wring the car out in every gear, aren't they? Get every last rev out of it. You can see Hafliderson backs out a little bit just to make sure that there's a bit of headroom as he makes his way up behind Matthew Crisp, who is also concertinaing in behind Michael Avdoka. They end up right together as they now come down the back straight. Oh, Kenyon's off. Martin Kenyon is off the road. And that is... where is that? It's Druids. He's off on the exit of Druids there after having a spin. Back to this, though, because Matthew Crisp has gone around the outside of Michael Avdoka into the chicane. He's not going to get that done, is he? No, he's not got an overlap, and Hafliderson's going to try and mug him now. One way then the other. A little bit of a tap, I think, there between the two of them. Michael's going to push, push, push. And it's a Crisp Butty at the minute. Gucci cuisine up here in the north is a Crisp Butty. Just depends on what crisps, though. Let us know in the chat if you have a Crisp Butty or a crisp sandwich, if you're going to be posh. Let us know what crisps you would choose. There are. There's a bit of interaction for you. Pete Newman now has a 6/10 lead over Majek Sakovic, and that's only just opened up in the last moments or so, because the last time that the timing had updated, when I mentioned that, it said that the gap was about 3/10. Newman now onto the final lap of the race. You could see Barney waving the flag, and in just a moment's time we're going to reach 20 minutes complete in this race. Sakovic second, Davidson third, then it's Jenkins, Avdoka, Crisp, Hafliderson, Carl Hardy second in AM. Karekis has gained 14 places, Delmont's gained 12, and they round out your top 10. Colin Sansom is off the road again. That's on the way up Clay Hill. He's had a big old spin there on the exit. But Newman's looking strong now. Looking very strong at the front of the pack. He finished third in the first race of the night, had a nightmare in race 2. But now it's looking like he's in a good position to take a race victory. Sakovic second, and look at Davidson in third. He's absolutely moving that car. He's done a purple sector 2, purple sector 3. Last time round he did a purple sector 5. And he was an entire second faster than Majek Sakovic on that previous lap. Alex Davidson is definitely the guy to beat on pace in this championship. He's an absolute missile, isn't he, in this Pure Sims Esports car. What a great signing for the team. They have an amazing list of drivers. It's about 965 drivers long, but it's still a great list. Up over Clay Hill they go once more. Sakovic doesn't want to have a big fight here, to be fair. If he can avoid it, he will, because he just needs to get decent AM Championship points, and he's got 5 cars between himself and Carl Hardy. Now, is Newman playing a bit of tactic here to back him up into Davidson for extra points, or is that just Davidson's pace in general? Is he going to go for a move? He's not. I think he's just going to try and set it up for the exit. But round the final corner, it gives me great pleasure to say that Pete Newman takes a race win in the World GR86 Series. Great drive at Oulton Park for Pete. Sakovic wins the AM class. Davidson is third. Jenkins is fourth. And Avdoka is going to finish in fifth, just ahead of Matthew Crisp and Michael Hafliderson, and just behind them as well. Great drive again by Carl Hardy. Christoph Karekis, 14 places gained. Not quite the biggest in the field, though. Davidson gains 15 and takes that honour. Delmont rounds out your top 10. And Roger Morton is going to take third place in the AM class. And he's going to round out that AM podium. But very, very well done to Pete Newman of Pure Sims SimLab. What a beautiful drive that was by Pete. He led from the very start of the race. Let's just show you his race start. And this is what got him the win. No, that's Matthew Crisp. Apologies. So this is Pete Newman's start. Fourth on the grid. We're about to be P1 by turn 1. Oh, look at that. Manages the wheel spin so beautifully. And before you know it, that is the race lead. And we will catch you later. Fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic job. Like I say, I've been good friends with Pete for quite a while, and it's always nice to see your friends get a race victory, but that one is going to mean a lot to him. We are still actually waiting for a couple of cars to finish the race by the look of it, but there's a little look there at the moment behind. Matty Wilde went down the inside of Rob Padgham. Sorry, it wasn't Rob Padgham, was it? It was actually his teammate, Ian Manners. And then Ian was tipped sideways into the path of the 619 of Martin Kenyon, and that's where the damage came from. But that start was all so important for Pete Newman, and it's exactly what he needed in that race. Very, very difficult to run away with it in a championship like this. Just trying to figure out who we've got to still finish the race, because apparently the race results have not come up yet. I'm not quite sure why. I think Rob Padgham is actually... now the sim is waiting for Rob to finish the race, but in him sitting there, it's just going to not give us the results, unfortunately. So we'd have to wait, unfortunately, but Pete Newman will be over the moon with that, and it's a very well-deserved victory. He tried very hard indeed tonight, and we do now have a race result, I can tell you, so we'll look at exactly how that one all finished up. Pete Newman takes the win with Maciej Sakovic behind him. Alexander Davidson finishes third ahead of Alex Jenkins and Michael Evdoka. Matthew Crisp was sixth ahead of Michael Hafliderson, and then Carl Hardy was second in the AM class, eighth outright. Christoph Karekis was ninth ahead of Adam Delmont in 10th position. Then it was Roger Morton and James Neve with Mikael Lees in 13th. Great battle by some of those guys throughout that race. Really good entertainment. John Baptiste Maceda was 14th ahead of Marcus Adams, Colin Sansom and Martin Kenyon. Ian Manners finishes the race in 18th place, a lap down though, with Liam Silkstone, Matty Wilde, Craig Jones, Andrew Jones, Rob Padgham and Morgan Butler not finishing the race. So it's time for a couple of interviews here then, to have a chat with some drivers, and at the moment it seems like we have just the one driver ready to have a chat, but unsurprisingly it's a driver that did not finish the race. Not that it's not surprising that you didn't finish the race, Morgan, but I mean more like we know that you didn't finish the race, so that's why you're already... Anyway, a bit of a tough night, unfortunately, Morgan. That last race, I think, will leave a bit of the sting in the tail there.
I mean, I think it's just iRacing being iRacing sometimes. I mean, some of the contacts that you get, especially with this new damage model, they do things to the car that, you know, maybe the car wouldn't do necessarily.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think going into that chicane, I think it was just a case of coming in just behind, I can't remember which car it was, but the way that it's like there's a small 0x and it just kind of sends the car into a really weird kind of spin out of nothing really. It's bizarre. I nearly saved it, but then the tyre barriers on the inside of the chicane there just kind of took the front right wheel completely off, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like hitting a brick wall, isn't it? Those tyre barriers, unfortunately. They move on other sims, but not this one, I'm afraid. What was it like there racing at Oulton Park tonight? I mean, it's a very tough, windy circuit. I imagine it feels great in cars like this.
Oh, cars like these, any sort of car with like a lower power is absolutely fantastic. Obviously these, I've raced them last night in the Clios alongside Mr. Pete Newman. And I mean, any car like these is fantastic around tracks like these, really, yeah.
And going forward in the championship, I mean, you've had a tough few blows at certain points here, but is there any sort of circuits that you think will really benefit your driving, or ones that you think may just hold a little bit more better luck for you?
I think really it's not really a case of maybe the track. I think it's just learning maybe where to, you know, pick a fight, where to fight certain battles. You know, it's always a learning curve, and I mean, these reverse grid races, you'll know yourself. You know, we've spent years doing these sort of things.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone's always got something new to learn, and I think for me, it's a new thing for me to be kind of having the pace to where coming through a reverse grid is something I need to be a bit more careful about. It used to obviously be a case of I was the one getting overtaken and struggling to come back through them, but nowadays I've found that pace to be able to come through them, and that's something I think I now need to learn, because it's a completely different, you know, way of driving, coming back through a field as opposed to trying to defend from the people that are coming back through it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right though. It's a complete different kettle of fish, but you know, I mean, as mates, you know, it's great to see that improvement in the pace and, you know, the development as a driver. It's just really good, and there's so many people in this field that you and I have both watched for many years, and it's still great to see how drivers can change from one season to the next. They can sometimes have good luck, sometimes have bad luck, but just the pace difference between people in certain cars as well, it really throws a lot of results up in the air, and that's always exciting, I guess. Before I let you go there, Morgan, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to tonight, mate?
Obviously, shout out to the Pearsons boys, of course. Shout out to obviously Alex for his race 1 win, and then obviously massive shout out to Pete for that race 3 win. Thoroughly deserved. I mean, it was a fantastic display from race 1 from Pete as well, with the P3. The amount of times I tried to tell him that he could have the P2 if he wanted, but he refused it and told me to keep it. I tried my hardest, but he wouldn't budge, and he took the P3. And obviously after the race 1 of the season shenanigans, it's massively well deserved for Pete. So obviously huge shout out to Pete for the win.
Cracking stuff. Well, always a pleasure, Morgan. Thank you very much for jumping in, mate. Unfortunate for the final race, and obviously my commiserations, but still look forward to speaking to you after the next one, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. See you then.
Cheers, mate. There we go then, Morgan Butler. Unfortunately, the only driver that we will have in for an interview tonight. It seems like all the other drivers either want to go to bed or forget about the night of racing that they've had. But I sincerely hope you've enjoyed yourselves tonight, everybody. That was a hell of a lot of fun, wasn't it? This was the World GR86 series from Oulton Park, sponsored by Buttkicker and in association with Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. My name is Chaz Draycott. This has been Chaz Draycott Media. Please do consider subscribing. It is free. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to have the notifications on. I just appreciate it if you did so. I put a lot of work into these broadcasts and do it all single-handedly, and I hope you enjoyed the content that comes out of it. But that's all from me for now anyway. We'll be back in a week's time for more rounds in the World GR86 series, but for now, it's good night.
Four French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The 3 wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
Before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, these are 5-ton machines, 1,200 horsepower brake. Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, he's been mugged and a throat to go out.
Back there, still on board with Ben Gregory now. I love this. 10.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.